Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Health. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemoration. Today, we are celebrating International Day of Persons with Disabilities on 3rd December every year. The theme for 2024 is amplifying the leadership of persons with disabilities for an inclusive and sustainable future. The leadership of persons with disabilities is epitomized by the Global Disability Rights Movement slogan, "Nothing about us without us." It connotates the basic requirements of participation, representation, and inclusion, and calls for persons with disabilities to actively shape the conditions of their lives. One of the priorities of the Global Disability Agenda is to advance the agency and leadership of persons with disabilities. In the past decades, persons with disabilities and organizations of persons with disabilities, OPDs in short, have already championed for the changes in their communities and have been leading many of the community-led institutions, not only to advance their own rights and well-being, but also promoting inclusive development, for the instance, enabling universal access to basic services by all. They have done so by taking both targeted and mainstreaming approaches to disability inclusion through, among others, consultation, data collection and analysis, and support with advocacy and accountability efforts. The observance of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities 2024, IDPD 2024, takes place against the backdrop of the pivotal global developments from Summit of the Future to the upcoming Second World Summit for Social Development. The key global summits will complement one another in providing continuous roadmap towards disability, inclusive, and sustainable peace and development. For all, the United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy in 2019, when launching, the Secretary General stated that the United Nations should lead by example and raise the organization's standards and performance on disability inclusion across all pillars of work from headquarters to the field. The United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy provides the foundation for sustainable and transformative progress on disability inclusion through all pillars of the work of United Nations. Through the strategy in the United Nations system reaffirms that the full and complete realization of the human rights of all persons with disabilities is an inalienable, integral, and advisable part of the human rights and fundamental freedoms. In 2024, the Secretary General submitted his fifth report on disability inclusion in the UN system. It reflects on the progress made to advance disability inclusion, highlights new or continuing challenges and opportunities presented through the strategy's implementation, and emphasizes key areas of focus needed to continue mobilizing the system towards an inclusive, accessible, and sustainable world for all. The commemorative event to be held at UN headquarters in New York to mark this year's IDPD will consist of an in-person opening segment and a virtual panel. So when we secure the rights of persons with disabilities, we move our world closer to upholding the core values and principles of the United Nations Charter. The United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy provides the foundation for sustainable and transformative progress on disability inclusion through all pillars of work of the United Nations: peace and security, human rights and development. When we look at the background of this state today, the world population is over 8 billion people, and more than 1 billion people, or approximately 15% of the world's population, live with some form of disability. 80% live in developing countries. So over 1 billion people in the world have some form of disability, more than 100 million disabled persons. The annual observance of International Day of the Disabled Persons was proclaimed in 1992 by United Nations General Assembly Resolution 47 by 3. It aims to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities in all spheres of society and development, and to increase awareness of the situation of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural life. Building on many decades of UN's work in the field of disability, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, adopted in 2006, has further advanced the light rights and well-being of persons with disabilities in the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and other international development framework, such as the Sendai Framework for Disaster Reduction, the Charter on Inclusion of Persons with Disabilities in Humanitarian Action, the New Urban Agenda, and the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development. So, what disability means? A disability is a condition or function judged to be significantly impaired relative to usual standard of an individual or their group. The term is often used to refer to individual functioning, including physical implant, sensory impairment, physical impairment, cognitive impairment, intellectual impairment, mental illness, and various types of chronic disease. This usage has been described by some disabled people as being associated with the medical model of disability. Persons with disabilities, the world's largest minority, have generally poor health, lower education, achievements, fewer economic opportunities, and higher rates of poverty than people without disabilities. This is largely due to lack of service available to them, like information and communications, technology, ICT, justice or transportation, and the many obstacles they face in their daily, everyday lives. These obstacles can take a variety of forms, including those relating to the physical environment or those resulting from legislation or policy or from societal attitudes or discrimination. People with disabilities are at much higher risk of violence. Children with disabilities are almost 4 times more likely to experience violence than non-disabled children. Adults with some form or disability are 1.5 times more likely to be a victim of violence than those without a disability. Adults with smart health conditions are at nearly 4 times the risk of experiencing violence. Factors which place people with disabilities at a higher risk of violence include stigma, discrimination, and ignorance about disability, as well as lack of social support for those who care for them. Inclusive society and development. Evidence and experience shows that when barriers to their inclusion are removed and persons with disabilities are empowered to participate fully in societal life, their entire community benefits. Barriers faced by persons with disabilities are therefore a detriment to society as a whole, and accessibility is necessary to achieve progress and development for all. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, recognizes that the existence of barriers constitutes a central component of disability. Under the Convention, disability is an evolving concept that results from the interaction between persons with impairments and attitudinal and environmental barriers that hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. Accessibility and inclusion of persons with disabilities are fundamental rights recognized by the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and are not only objectives but also prerequisites for the enjoyment of their rights. The Convention Article 9 accessibility seeks to enable persons with disabilities to live independently and participate fully in all aspects of their life and development. It calls upon states parties to take appropriate measures to ensure that persons with disabilities have access to all aspects of society on an equal basis with others, as well as to identify and eliminate obstacles and barriers occasionally. Children with disabilities are almost 4 times more likely to experience violence than non disabled children. 50% of the disabled persons cannot afford health care. 185 countries have ratified the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. 7 targets of the Sustainable Development Goals explicitly refer to the persons with disabilities. Today, we are also commemorating Candle Day in US, falling on December 3 this year. It's Bath Body Works Candle Day. Calming scents for the lowest prices of the year. The day only comes around once annually, so make sure it's on your calendar. But nowadays, there is a lot of environment conscious that is happening, and we are battling with climate change. It's always better to avoid candles in any of the celebrations or commemorations because they emit a lot of toxic gases into the environment. And with that, you will be the victim of various diseases and ill health. Today is also commemorated as Coats and Toys for Kids in US. Coats and Toys for Kids Day is celebrated on the first Saturday in December every year. This day is about people coming together and creating a positive change in what can sometimes seen as indifferent world. And CTKD people donate cold weather gear like coats, boots, gloves, as well as toys to eligible families. This keeps kids warm, happy during winter. Today is also commemorated as Great Day in New Zealand. On the first Sunday in December, it takes place on it is distinctive New Zealand custom to share a crate of drinks to celebrate the approach of summer. The holiday celebration can be done in privacy of homes, at parks, or in beach. Various contests are organized on this occasion. Today is also commemorated as Day of Navarre in Spain. It commemorates the death of Saint Francis Xavier and draws attention to the autonomous region culture. It is a public holiday in Spain's Navarre region, but not elsewhere in the country. Many business and other organizations are closed. Many shops are closed. However, bakeries and grocery stores may be open. Public transportation may operate on a limited timetable. Parades and other public events may create local traffic congestion, particularly in town and village centers. Many activities take place in Pamplona, but some are arranged in other villages and cities. Today is also commemorated as Farmers' Day in Ghana. The official Farmers' Day in Ghana is on the first Friday in December, celebrates the country's farmers and fishermen. The agriculture industry contributes to at least 20 to 30% of the revenue on the country's socio-economic fronts. The import and export business generates an income for many households and allows economic industry to thrive. However, issues such as climate change have had a negative impact on the industry. The agriculture industry faced similar challenges during the early 1980s, but fought hard to grow it, which led to the observance of Ghana's Farmer Day. It is a day to recognize and award the hard work of farmers and fishermen. Today is also commemorated as Fox for Friday in US. A celebration of lovers of fuzzy clothes and animals is celebrated on the first Friday in December, falling on, and it is celebrated of all things furry and fake. So grab your coats, hat, shoes, or sweater and join us. But remember, we have to be cruelty free towards animals, and as most of these fur comes from animal skins, like coats made of leopard skins and so on. So be cautious. And nowadays we are getting fake fur, as the earliest uses were suggested only for children way back in 1800s, but it was also thought that fake fur was never going to be a substitute for the real thing. The anti-fur movement in the 1970s gave the fake fur industry a big boost, reaching new heights when big-name supermodels Naomi Campbell and Cindy Crawford were picked for a PETA ad campaign against the sale of real fur. While the fashion industry stayed true to fur, Fox Fur has gained the support of labels like Vogue, Paris, and Gussie. Multiple brands have also picked up the Fox Fur trend and then market it to customers all across the price range. So recent years have seen multiple companies avoiding natural fur because it promotes animal cruelty, killing, and suffering. So countries banning fur production and various designers exploring fox fur production on a grand scale. Today is also commemorated as Giving Tuesday in US. After Thanksgiving, people take time to kick off this holiday season by giving back to their community, whether it is donating money to a charitable cause or volunteering. Giving Tuesday is a day set to benefit the community. If you want to take part by giving a gift for someone while giving back to the charity in the process. Today is also commemorated as Let's Hug Day in US. Celebrates the warmth and comfort of a hug. Hugs are versatile. Many of us hug when we wish to share our happiness with family and friends. At the same time, hugs are stable when we are feeling low and need someone to just hold and console us. Hugs are also perfect reconciliatory gesture when you want to make up with someone after a fight. Scientifically, hugs are known to release good hormones that can help lower your blood pressure and stress levels. Hugs also release the happy hormones called oxytocin, reducing cortisol, while the stress hormone. Hugs can also help regulate blood pressure, heartbeats, depression, anxiety, and frustration. Today is also commemorated as National Day of Giving in US, which occurs every fourth Friday of November. It was only created in 2012, also known as Giving Tuesday or Global Day of Giving, follows three major shopping days. It is Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday. It is created to unleash the power of radical generosity by giving to those in need for charities. Nonprofits and charitable organizations usually participate in the day to run end of the year campaigns and fundraise for disadvantaged and the deserved. Giving Tuesday is a global movement observed in most countries around the world. If you want to take part by buying a gift for someone while giving back to charity is the process. Today is also commemorated as National Green Bean Casserole Day in US. On December 3rd celebrates the dish and its interesting origins. These days are going to be knocking on our doors soon, and there's no harm in getting our preparations underway from today onwards. Green bean casserole is enjoyed by all over America for its few ingredients and simplistic recipe that does not require too much time and effort. Two of the main ingredients include cream of mushroom soup and, of course, green beans. Two are either mixed together or layered on top of each other. The smooth and creamy texture is complemented with an extra crunchiness of French fried onions sprinkled over the top. And while you are filling and having nutritious dish. This recipe was such a game changer on the American food scene that his inventor, Dorcas Lillian Bates Rayleigh, features in the Hall of Fame alongside the likes of Thomas Edison and Muhammad Ali. Today is also commemorated as National Heather Day. Today is also commemorated as National Make a Gift Day in US. We love gifts that have a personal touch, and that's why we love National Make It Gift Day so much, celebrated on December 3rd each year. This unofficial holiday encourages people to create gifts for their loved ones instead of relying on ready-made goods. This distinctive touch makes the gift all more exclusive and adds more significance to the entire gift-giving process. Today is also commemorated as National Roof Over Your Head Day in US. Following closely after Thanksgiving, another day to be thankful. National Roof Over Your Head Day asks you to give thanks for what we have, beginning with the roof over your heads, particularly because many other people lack this basic necessity. This day is a lovable reminder to be content with our lot and avoid worrying about things we do not have, whereas we are still tracing the origins of the day. The origin of homelessness in America, on the other hand, is well documented. Today is also commemorated as Sabah Day in Sabah, in Caribbean, which is an official holiday in Sabah that is annually observed on the first day of December, first Friday of December. This day demonstrates Sabah's national pride, its flag, anthem, and coat of arms. It is the smallest island of the Netherlands Antilles with land area of only 5 square miles, although it has been under Dutch rule since 1816. The island enjoys its own autonomy. Sabah Day in Sabah is celebrated with much pomp and splendor in the form of various contests, fests, and award ceremonies to pay tribute to the eminent personalities from Ireland. So, with this, we shall end today's commemoration. We thank you, everyone, for joining us on this day. So, we request everyone to quickly fill out the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls before leaving the platform. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.